Hello there, this is Wendy. I'm so excited that you're here today. We are going to be assembling this vintage cottage. This is a beautiful, lovely layers die from Honeybee. And I'm going to start with the BG78 and BG75 to color that roof. And then I'm going in with some YRs and some E's to color the chimneys. And I'm using E30s for pretty much the rest of the cottage. The base of the cottage will be a BG72. So I'm using Copic markers. I don't think I said that. And those are the colors I'm using. I will have a supply list below the video for you so that you know everything I'm using. I sped this up to be 20 times the regular speed because frankly, this video was almost 2 hours long. It took me a long time to put this together and color everything. It is a labor of love, but it is so worth it. That handy, lovely layers layering guide that I showed you right at the beginning of this video is your very best friend. My recommendation to you is anytime you get a new lovely layers die set from Honeybee, that you immediately go to the website and you print yourself one of the layering guides. What I like to do is I like to fold them up and place them in the back of my die set so that I always have them handy each time I go to create. So here I have assembled pretty much the entire front of the cottage. I'm adding the windows, and to add the windows you have to layer them all together first. That was a little mistake I made. I started to add the frame directly to the cottage when I realized that first I needed to layer all the pieces together. For the wisteria that is growing on the house, I used some BVs, BV01, 2, and 4. And then I used some RVs for these really pretty little flowers and YG61 and 63 for the bushes. My goal was to keep everything very muted. So because the house was a more muted tone, I didn't want to then add super bright pink flowers or super bright purple wisteria. So here you can see it all finished, each layer colored and layered together beautifully. And as I said, definitely a labor of love. I used this fun kind of burlap embossing folder for my piece of white cardstock that I cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. Again, I will link to this. And then I decided to use the It Is Well stamp set. This is one of my very favorite stamp sets from Honeybee. I've used it many times in many videos, and it's kind of one of those stamp sets that you can just use for any occasion. So for this card, I decided to use the stamp that says, "May God bless your home." And there's actually 2 stamps in this set that say that. And I feel like this is a sentiment that you can use for many occasions. You could use it for a new baby. You could use it for a housewarming. You could use it for a sympathy card. You could just use it for like a thank you or thinking of you. I would say pretty much everything except birthday. Wouldn't quite get away with it using it for birthday. But outside of that, I feel like you pretty much use this sentiment for anything. One of the things I love about Honeybee is that they always use or provide the dies as an option to purchase. So you can have the dies cut out your sentiments. That is something I really like doing. I really love having die cuts for my sentiments. So here I'm taking some old linen twine that I had, and I am wrapping it around this card. I just felt like this card needed a little something to kind of anchor the elements all the way across. And I didn't feel like I could just put the sentiment and the house on and be done. So I added this twine and I tied a really little bow right here. Now, tying bows on while you're being recorded is kind of like trying to type with somebody watching over your shoulder. it's usually doesn't go well, and you make some mistakes and you feel nervous. I don't know why, but tying bows on camera for me has always been a little bit of a challenge. So once I get it double knotted there, that kind of holds everything in place, and then I'm able to tie my little bow. And then I just kind of keep cheating it and pulling at it until it gets smaller and gets just the right size that I want, and trim off the excess edges. Now, Honeybee does have a brand new release coming out. Most of you who watch Honeybee Stamps probably already know that, because Kelly Taylor has been doing a phenomenal job at showcasing some of the new products coming out. This is not one of the new products. This is actually a product from the last release, but I hadn't got a chance to create with it yet, and I just felt like I desperately needed to make this little cottage. I could see myself sitting in front of a little cottage like this, renting it as an Airbnb with my two best girlfriends, and having a beautiful cup of coffee and maybe a Parisian pastry, and just enjoying a slow morning, watching people pass by. A lot of times when I am creating with products from Honeybee, I notice that they bring emotion out in me. They make me feel like I could be in that place, or I might imagine what it would be like to be in that place. So when I was creating this, I thought of many different things. One was Belle from Beauty and the Beast. I felt like this is a house that she would live in, and just that very beautiful French country cottage kind of feel. And then I also thought about me and my two best girlfriends, like I said, getting up late in the morning, having a beautiful brunch or a pastry, and enjoying a beautiful cup of coffee while we sat and visited and caught up on all that life is for us. There's nothing better than having really close friends that you can spend time with and enjoy life with. And so yeah, now I'm just like, well, we have to find some sort of cute little French cottage like this for us to go to and enjoy. So after I got my foam tape placed on the back of the house, I added it to the card layer here, and then I'm going to add the "May God Bless Your Home" sentiment off to the side. I'm going to use some more foam tape for part of this sentiment, and then I'll use glue for the part that's going to go on the house. I need the sentiment to pop up, but if I were to add foam tape all the way across this sentiment, then it wouldn't lay flat against the house and it would pop up on top of the house. So you just want to make sure when you are overlapping a sentiment like this on something that you've already popped up, you need to bring the element up, but then usually you have to glue a piece of the element flat, if that makes sense. So in this case, I grabbed my Honeybee glue, added a little bit to the edge here, and then I just removed my backing off that foam tape and added this to the front of the card. I am really excited for the new release. If you guys have not checked it out yet, like I said, please make sure you go check some of it out, because the new products are amazing and they really speak to my soul, because I live in the country and my daughter has a horse and we raise pigs and we have chickens. So for us, all the cool new layering dies and stamp sets really speak to our hearts. And I know that I'm going to be able to make so many cool cards for friends and family members using those products. I'm super excited about it. So here I'm just adding a few more pieces of foam tape, and I'm going to pop it up on this piece of blue cardstock. I'm going to be honest with you, this cardstock, I cannot remember the name of the color, but any kind of, that blue, green, or slate blue color would work, whatever you have in your stash. So here I'm just going to add it down to my card base, which is cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4.25. This piece is cut at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm going to glue that down to my card base, and then I will be able to add my card layer with foam tape on it to the top of this, and you'll just see that little bit of blue edge peeking out, and it kind of matches the house. So it really helps your eye look, I don't know, the colors coordinate so beautifully that it really makes your eye, it's aesthetically pleasing. That's the words I'm looking for. So this is the finished card, but of course I have to add embellishments. No card is really complete without some embellishments. Am I correct? So I went and grabbed some rhinestones from Honeybee. These are their gem stickers, and they're just the plain rhinestones. And I decided I didn't want that much shine because, again, we went with kind of a subtle muted tone for this cottage. So I grabbed my pearl gems, my pearl stickers, and I decided I would add the really light blue ones just ever so close to that sentiment, and not to the point that it would distract from anything. You can just barely tell that they're blue, and I think it complements everything really, really well. Now that this is finished and I have all of my pearl stickers on there, I am super happy with how this card turned out. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And now I just have to look for the right occasion to give it to somebody. I'm sure the occasion will be coming soon. I hope you enjoyed your time with me and enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and you can shop at the link in the description below the video. Bye-bye, friends.